So if this is the start of a new thing, hello everyone, I'm High Treason. If it's not, then, well, here we go. Now, this map is sort of the same age as that house we looked at. It's another one that was for animation backdrops, and it's that slightly older naming scheme. This is actually older than this one. So yeah, you know, that's you can see we did it with Lab 1, Lab 11. Lab 1 is the newer one of the two. It's you know, Mole 4 is older than Mole 2.7. Messy versioning. So what do we have here? Did I start O or X? I started O. I should start X because it's been modified to make these things go a little bit better. Weird how that muscle memory's still there. So keep in mind, levels I made that were playable would have looked very similar to this stuff, like, in their time. So we have these here. Now, I have loads and loads of maps where I was learning how to use this pathing system. And what we're going to do is we're going to set you off. 3, 4, go. Okay, I've probably done it a bit fast, I think. There's a lot of detail here that gets wasted, and those lights I did fix at some point, but yeah, not yet. And you recognise this is blue pickup. We see this in loads of my old stuff. Floor panning, don't know if it ever got fixed because I don't think you would have seen it, because like I say, this is another animation backdrop level, and that's pretty much all we're going to be seeing from now on, barring one little bit of probably the next map I'm going to go in. So we've got a little bit of a ride here, but it's not too much longer. We've got like a corner left, and where do you think we're going to be? What do you think we're going to see in here? We will see the whole arena. Now, I was, Nordic Warrior was like in my comments, Magic 11.15 on. I better get off that because it is going to start eating its fucking face out. Ugh. It'll probably vanish when it gets to the end of the bit anyway. But yeah, about the 5th Harry Potter movie, and I was like, you know, I don't actually remember fuck all about it, and I hated it. And I've remembered why I don't remember. Ah! I set them off in the wrong order. I remembered why I don't remember, because I never wanted to see the fucking movies. And in real life, on the same complex, there's a cinema here. And I got took to the fucking cinema. I don't remember this grasping here. I'm glad I came over here. It doesn't look like this in real life. In real life, there's like a small road that goes this way. We had like a Toys R Us and stuff over there. And there's a small road that went this way. And I used to walk down there. But, yeah, the cinema. And I hated the film. And I got up for a smoke. And I asked, can I go out for a cigarette? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. So I went out for a cigarette. And then they wouldn't let me back in. Like, no, you've been outside now. So, but I still have my ticket. Well, you'd have to buy another one. I'm not buying another one. Your movie fucking sucks. And it was a Friday night, and I used to basically live at the ice rink back then. So what I did was I was like, well, I don't usually do a Friday night disco, but it's just got 8 o'clock. The disco session's on. My skates are in there, because I used to be at the ice arena minimum Sunday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Thursday evening, Friday afternoon, Saturday morning for my lesson, Saturday night for disco. And, you know, I'd go on other sessions as well. And as the Friday night disco's on, my skirts I used to leave in locker, usually 185 because it was broke and it gave you your coins back. You weren't meant to leave things there, but knowing people who worked there and shit was very useful. And, yes, I just went ice skating and didn't see most of the film. And that's why I don't remember the film. Also, I got my dick sucked by an emo girl back here. Like, I felt like a bit of an asshole for it because she'd done something to piss me off. And that, I would accept that as an apology, and I didn't think she would actually do it. I'm not going to say no. So, yeah, sure. I kind of dirty after that. Now, the thing with this is, Evil Tom, I believe. Yeah, but it's not going to look right because this actually had like a whole load of custom tiles, and I don't know where the fuck they are. I don't seem to have them anymore. And editing art in Blood's a pain in the ass because you got edit art instead of art edit, or is it the other way around? Yeah, I think it's art edit instead of edit art. Skater's Edge isn't accurate. It's like this was at 45 degrees in real life. There's another set of doors here. There was like an island and barriers and shit here, and this was way more glassy and everything. And there's a door to the stairway there, and it goes up there. But yeah, you know, art edit, whatever it is, it's misleading. You can't edit shit. We'll go over there in a second. So, we have skate hire, which the window that was open, there was one sort of here and one sort of there, and no lockers on this side. At least I don't remember them being on this side. And you had benches. Medical room was sort of more like here, I seem to think. But in any case, there's now in here, because animation backdrop map, you would have only seen the door open and close, you know, and that would have been it. You know, no need for it to exist. It's not going to. The cafes here, the hotspot. I have a photograph, I might be able to find it, of me sat about there with one of my friends on a Saturday fucking night, and that would probably have been around when this was being built. It was worked on over quite a lot of time, but ultimately abandoned. There was a slightly later revision, but we're not missing much here. And what we have again is these examples of areas you would never see, where, you know, you'd never see this bit. You might see from up here, and our custom tiles would be loaded. The effects system I've sort of got to grips with. But yeah, so it doesn't need detailing up here, because you'd just never really, you know, have to worry about that. But there was definitely a version that had, you know, different tiles. Like, I definitely had a custom art file also for this. So that was weird. The game stalled and we kept falling. DJ booth. It's an interactable thing up here, actually. Obviously, these were replaced to look more like modern audio gear and stuff. I know this got replaced with a sprite structure. I remember distinctly having a replacement voxel for the chars that had a palette problem. It was like broken palette. I don't have that data, it doesn't seem. It seems like that's missing like so much other stuff. But that's really about it for this map. There's not really anything else in here. There's details that are missing. You know, a walkway that went under here to the bogs, and the whole structure at the back, and more fucking bleachers, and another structure at the back. It was always really dark in these two corners. Especially this corner over here is very dark, so there's some dodgy things used to go on. Old chavs used to hang out in that one, so we made use of there was a corner over here and stuff. And this whole thing, there was definitely a version of this with more barriers. And the thing with maps that were made for animation backdrops that we're going to learn over time is that there were numerous versions of them that were technically the same sort of increment, but had bits added on and bits deleted depending on what we were using it for, just to make it work. So yeah, you know, I mean, you've seen how I use I've used build for like my channel logo and like my synth demos and stuff like that, the graphics in them. I've been using build for that for a long time, and I'm sure somewhere I have the map with my original blue and red spinning HT logo that used to be in the top of my early YouTube videos. That was done in blood. It was done in blood, that logo. So I've been doing this a long time. Now here's why we're starting to break the conditioning. We're breaking the conditioning! Mine's 456. Mine L001, 002. So this map is right from, you know, now we're starting to see tells. Maybe not so much up to now. But I think we're about to start seeing telltale signs now of who is building the level. So, shall we take a look? I'm breaking my rules a little bit here. Because this area was in a map I released. If you have this texturing and shading was slightly different. The shading was a bit more sort of heavy. Like my shading's never been heavier, but certainly a little bit stronger than this. And yeah, you know, this is this starting area made it into a playable level. And so if you have this starting area, I'm not saying it's at the start, but you have this little area here, then it's mine, and you need to send me it because I don't have it anymore. I don't know, I might have that one. So, are we starting to see it? It's a bit broken. Right, so when the floor there isn't visible, that's kind of strange. I wonder why it does that. Detailing's going up. It's not finished, it's very old. But like I say, it's another animation backdrop level. That's all we're really going to see from here on out. And I was making less, like, you know, playable levels by now. Let's find out if these blow up. Apparently not. That's how you test for explosives. You just go up to them and just bash them really hard with something. And if they don't blow up, then they're probably not explosive. But if they do, then you'll know. Actually, you won't know, because you'll be dead. But now it's not explosive anymore, so it's safe for the next people, so you should still do it. Because that's been considerate. You know, that's having manners, that's thinking of other people. And if it collapses the mine, well then, you know, that's definitely safer, because then no one can go in. You'd never gone down these, because, like I said, not a playable level. No sounds implemented, nothing. You know, the people were going to come down here, the mine's going to start flooding, sploosh, glug, fucking, bluggy, blee, whatever. Oh shit, we're all going to die. We'd better pull the chains to make the elevator go, because it's like a pull a chain elevator. It's like flushing the toilet. Flushing the toilet. You see, it's not designed as a sinky floor. This bit I know for sure I had a path sector that you stood on and it actually dragged you along. And there was like a guy on his bike and he went here, and I remember it was somewhere over here where he was like pedalled along under the water and went out that end. And it's not defined as underwater. Because why would you do that? That's there to mark where this hole is. But you would have never seen this from this angle. Like, you know, it's like sort of dodgy there with the rails, but you would have seen it from somewhere back here or something. And yeah, you can't tell. You can't see the problem, and that's just the way. I think we're more this side. You know, so yeah. Now there's areas I can't go in here that are over that side. I can't go over that. We've just seen a flash of it. Because there's a little sort of secret over there, there's a cave, and it has actual people's names in there, and you know, I'll tell you something, like when I tell you things about people I used to know, if I say names, usually I've made the name up on the spot. So if you've ever noticed, like I'll mention someone again, like a year later, and I call them a different name when I'm telling you about them, it's because I made the name up. And the reason I do this is I don't like using people's real names if they're not there to give me permission. It sounds stupid, but, you know, I wouldn't mind if someone did it with me, but I've known people get upset about it, and, you know, to me it's just manners to do that. So, you know, they're not there to say, oh yeah, go ahead, you can say my name. So, just out of respect, I will just make up a name for that person, or just a title, you know. I mean, it's like gun girl. I'm pressing forwards, by the way. Like, so now I'm pressing backwards, forwards, backwards. Can we strafe on it? Okay, that. No, that's backwards as well. Because if I stand up, let's see. Weird, eh? Useless here. I don't know why I've done this here, but I remember finding that. And you can sort of do it in Duke a little bit as well. Oh, it's our old friend. This was a different project, but This is just was a sort of a signature thing. Weird thing is, I didn't know about the pizza truck in Pixar films at the time, so I guess I was kind of, yeah, it's one of them things independently, sort of, yeah. It's not a very British-looking house. I wouldn't even say it looked American necessarily. I see sort of elements of, like, Aussie maybe in there, actually. It's a little bit of everything, I think. There was some at the other end of the road, but I don't think it exists in this revision. So, yeah, that is Mine Loo 2. Obviously, it's zeros. Naming conventions changed. We're going a good way in the 2000s now, probably heading towards the early mid-2000s. And so, that's it for that one. Now we're going a little farther in the future. Because the whole time that was going on, that house and the ice rink were still being worked on. Until... we'll do the house first. We're missing so many versions of this. It went into 3 figures, the revision number on this, because I was incrementing way more often now. So we have this thing, and the guy moved house, like from that one that was all dark. That's buggy, but again, you'd never see this from this angle. And there, I did make a playable map and release it that looked similar in places, but it didn't use any of this. Access passage, no point going down there. Stairwell was here, but I had to move it because of problems like that. But, we have this little mantelpiece here. We have, detail has definitely sort of gone up a bit here, hasn't it? I think you will agree. We have, it's definitely looking better. The time of me quitting blood mapping and going into Duke is even less detailed basement, but you never saw in there because you just saw him throw like a crate of Pepsi over there. He was addicted to it. You've had to sim the Pepsi thing in the ice rink, and the character was addicted to Pepsi, and so he threw it in there, and he was having nightmares. It's like, please drink me. I know he got locked in there as well. He had like fancied some girl group called like Nuclear Pussy or something, and they decided to just wind him up, so they came around his house, but then just threw him in the basement and drank all his Pepsi. Kids, you didn't see that much. I think all you saw this was like from here anyway. Like, I don't think he ever went in there. He hated kitchens, so you'll need to have details back there. Basement was enterable from here at one time, but this is a raw stack, so we'd had to remove it. I guess it was causing problems. Now, you remember what I said about foreshadowing? Are we seeing it now? Is it visible now? Like, it's a thing that you do, I think, is you take what you learn and you use it. Now that, again, it's not a problem, because you can't see that from there. It draws fine from just about anywhere you'd see it from a table shot. You can't see it from the living room. You can't see it from a little do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, sure, it's buggy, but again, it was never going to be seen from an angle where it was a problem. And then we have this area, and now we've learned how to abuse things, because the sector's quite small. It's pretty strange. Now we're learning the innards of the engine and how it draws things, so we're sort of moving ahead a little bit. We're getting there. Another thing, we still have these angles on the back of doors for now, but they're a lot smaller and a lot neater. Now, unfortunately, what sucks is this has been old, it's missing things. Because there was a balcony here, like there to there. The other houses were detailed in, and at least the second one was. The third one I don't think had any interior. And this wardrobe wasn't here, and it probably is still a red-walled sector in anticipation, actually. I'm surprised that it's not. No, it's not. God, this must be really old. Because I know I red-walled it ready, and the balcony went in very late, where he would argue with his neighbour. There's a thing I'm not saying this doors don't work because you would have never seen them used. Boiler room had like one shot that had to be done in it. This room never used. This room, I think you saw into it, sort of the door was open just for variety. This opened into his neighbour's house because his neighbour ended up shagging the girl group just to troll him. This door works. I think something happened here, like I think a monster came in a dream he had or something. There was a nightmare version of all of the houses. It's a bit of a downgrade from his old bathroom really. The rest of the house is nicer, but you know, his wash basin's all square now, his bath's smaller, not set as sinkable. Surface type's what causes the splashing. His toilet's maybe not as dirty, I guess he hasn't been here that long, it's like a tard. Just actually not liking the palette, but he hasn't got them lights anymore. It's a downgrade. Loft. That grate I think moves with the door. It seems weird. Now I reveal what I was wondering if you'd noticed. Do you think now I might have found the copy and paste keys? I think this was, if not the first, one of the first that was using them. And you might notice we get much less corrupted geometry and stuff now, so yeah. It still isn't real pretty, but I'd say now it's sort of getting into the areas of being acceptable. You could see it was starting to in the mine level, but it just was a little bit too sporadic for its own good in places. And yeah, now we're sort of seeing it. Like, it's all sort of taking shape. There's really not much else here to see. Like, it's a very old version of the map. Unfortunately, it's the way things go. Data loss. Fucking piece of shit game. You would have never seen this from this far out. Oh dear. That's what Caleb's nightmare's about, I guess. Oh well, I'll be back in a moment. So we're running out of levels to go in now. Naming and version numbering. I wonder if we're seeing a pattern. Now I think we've been starting to see maybe tells, like, you know, you could actually look at these maps, compare them to what I built for Duke 3D and go, yeah, this is built by the same person. Everyone develops their own style, their own way of doing things, you know. So this is, unfortunately, I'm missing far too many, but the ice arena got rebuilt, and you can see it's a bit buggy. If you look over here, because I've learned how to abuse the ever-living fuck out of the raw stack. You can't go up there. I remember there've been some... There we go. I'm amazed I remember that. So yeah, we've learned how to abuse the ever-living hell out of the raw system. And here we go. Ceiling's got a slope. It's not complete, and I think I had to get rid of the slope on it at some point. But, you know, when I started putting gantries in for the PA system, and there was a lot of custom tiles, and there may be some invisible sprites in here, but it's too early. I know revisions on this went a long way. We went up to something like 210 at least. It was very close to the last map I'm going to go in. So yeah, unfortunately this is increment 59, so it's a long way off, and that data's never coming back. This, I believe, is modelled, but sort of backwards. I don't know why, because I can't imagine it was ever used, so yeah, I guess you can't see, there's just no privy in there, but didn't need to be. I think you would only just seen into the room there, so it didn't really matter. It's sort of a bit... yeah, the walls stuck out here, and the urinal was actually back here, and there was like a cubicle at the end, and you'd smirk in there occasionally if no one was looking. And it's difficult to use a toilet when you're wearing ice skirts, I can tell you. Especially, like, you know, I'm 6'4", and of course they have to put them in for people who aren't in ice skirts, so when you're wearing those, it adds a few extra inches to your height. It doesn't add a few inches to your dick. I don't need those anyway, but some people maybe feel they do. And it's like, I want to use a urinal, it's fucking all the way down there. Like, now what am I supposed to do? Trying to use like an actual toilet, yeah, you're going to piss on the back of the seat. It's a lost cause. I don't get why this bit's here. I'm guessing this is like you're really desperate. Just, oh, go in the corner. Maybe that's what you do, I don't know. But I don't think you ever would have come in this room, but I guess I was goofing around. You know, it was like, oh, I know the copy and paste key now, so I'll just copy that room and put that there. But unfortunately, like I said, too early a revision, not much to see. Locker room, just, yeah, this doesn't exist. It's all very rudimentary, rude geometry, and yeah, just not really a lot. You see, it's not actually accurate the way this is, but some of it's like, you know, it's there to sort of look good in an animated thing and not true to real life necessarily. Like this, sort of where the opening to the medical room would be. By the way, we've changed to Pepsi, and not Pepsi. It's so sad not having it, but sort of this is where the medical room would have been, but instead, it actually comes up here. Like I explained to you, the staircase was sort of in the entrance where, I think there were other ways up there, but they were publicly available. And, yeah, there's just nothing up here, because you would have never come up here. Like, there was no backdrop for up here, so, you know, you'd have been able to see there was something up here if you were out there, but I'm sure I put glass across and just darkened it, and you had like silhouettes of people or something in here. People used to have parties up here. I don't get invited to parties, I don't do parties. So these are really just access for taking shots, like, you know, for the backdrops. But even though it is an early sort of shitty revision that's still got Tylo all over it, this is Blood's Tylo, in case you wondered. I think you can see we have come on quite a ways. You know, we're starting to do some more advanced stuff. Again, man, I wasn't in any type of mapping community. It's not like I had other level design people to sort of bounce off of. And I find it interesting with all levels where people generally didn't, and they just had to come up with these things themselves. It's like those Billy Boy windows. You know, if me and the Billy Boy dude had talked to each other, we'd probably have done them a lot faster. But as it was, we didn't know each other existed. I didn't really know Billy Boy was around until I randomly downloaded one of his levels at some point, and I doubt if he knew I was around. I don't think he played Blood, and I don't think it'd have been on the local communities I shared these in, so, you know, if we'd have known, we'd have probably, like, you know, there'd been some board we were both on, we'd have probably developed things like that, like, you know, together. Like, just because we'd have had an interest in the same thing, we'd have been in the same community, and like, hey dude, you notice what happens if you perk this, or, oh yeah, shit, hey, now what if we do, oh yeah, you know, it's what you do with things, it's how communities work on the internet and in real life, but people just have to do these things on their own. Well, that's it for this one. I wish I did have a later version of it, but I just don't. It doesn't exist anymore. Oh man, it blows. Anyway, I think we only have one map left now. I'm sure we do. I'm sure I'm missing something. I'll go and check.